The Miami Dolphins have fired Mike McDaniel. And if this had happened on Monday, this wouldn't be a big deal. Hey, Mike McDaniel gets fired. Big deal. Because it's happening on Thursday, this is enormous, ground-shaking, NFL-changing news because, man, do we have a lot to speculate about as it relates to Mike McDaniel getting fired this late in the cycle. You know what this means? And I'm not the only one fully connecting these dots. I may be the only one fully connecting these dots, but people are already connecting the dots. Mike McDaniel got fired because Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, people go, oh, he wants John Harbaugh. No, he wants Lamar Jackson. Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, wants Lamar Jackson. And you know how you get Lamar Jackson? You get him by signing the coach, John Harbaugh, who has an immaculate relationship with Lamar Jackson. And so, yes, everyone's right. Put that Diana Rossini thing back up. Diana Rossini, everybody at ESPN, they're right. The Miami Dolphins have yet to reach out to John Harbaugh's representation. However, with Chad Alexander interviewing in person for the general manager job and his close connections to John Harbaugh, this will be one to watch. And so the Dolphins are interviewing for their general manager job because the general manager got fired a month, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, Chris Greer. They're interviewing GMs with relationships with John Harbaugh because if we know one thing about Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, he's a visionary. He thinks 3, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead. He is a chess player. While everyone else is playing checkers, Stephen Ross is trying to play chess. Let me remind you all of what got Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, crossways with Brian Flores. You know Brian Flores, who's suing the National Football League over racism, over Stephen Ross firing him. What got them crossways? Stephen Ross had a plan to tamper and nab Tom Brady at the end of his career in New England. Stephen Ross had a plan to get Tom Brady. You got to remember, Stephen Ross is a Michigan alum, one of the most powerful Michigan alums in all the world. He has a relationship with Tom Brady. He has a relationship with Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. Jim and John Harbaugh grew up as kids in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Their dad coached under Bo Schembechler. Jim Harbaugh, of course, went on to be a quarterback at Michigan. But I'm talking Stephen Ross's ties and connection to the Harbaughs goes way back. His ties to Michigan are obvious. His and I mean no negative connotation by this, but his sneakiness as it relates to like, hey man, how can I improve my franchise? What shortcut could I take? Oh, could I use my Michigan connections to get the greatest quarterback of all time to come and end his career in Miami rather than Tampa Bay? And what did Tom Brady deliver to Tampa Bay? A Super Bowl. And if you remember, Brian Flores playing it by the book, violating his relationship with Stephen Ross, he objected to Stephen Ross tampering with Tom Brady. He didn't want to go along with it. This leaked out in the media. That's what violated the trust between Brian Flores and Stephen Ross. And I defended Stephen Ross at the time, in real time. Either this is 2019, 2020, I can remember. I defended Stephen Ross in 2020 when this went down. It's like, hey, man, he done hatched a scheme to get Tom Brady, and his head coach is complaining about it. His head coach is ratting him out and getting him in potential trouble with the National Football League for tampering. You're damn right. You're damn right you fire Brian Flores. And that's how Mike McDaniel ended up being the head coach. Because if you got to remember, I know Mike McDaniel doesn't look the part, but he passes the Rooney Rule deal because his dad is black, even though Mike McDaniel looks pretty white and lives a pretty white life. But they end up getting Mike McDaniel. And I think based on the way the season was ending, with the Dolphins winning and looking like, hey, they kind of found their footing and they had gotten rid of Chris Greer, it looked like Mike McDaniel might survive. And then the Baltimore Ravens decide to fire John Harbaugh. And I would imagine that Harbaugh knew this was a possibility. Others around Harbaugh knew this was a possibility. Stephen Ross knew this was a possibility. Whoever Harbaugh's agent is, I'm sure knew this was a possibility and may have began sniffing around what the other opportunities are. And I'm sure Stephen Ross was like, hey, didn't I just read a story from Mike Preston? And haven't I heard rumors out of Baltimore that Lamar Jackson wants to return to the Florida area and would like to play in Miami? And so if I'm Stephen Ross, I start, hold on, what? Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP? I'm stuck here with Tua Tagovailoa. I'm stuck here with Quinn Ewers as my potential franchise quarterback. I could go out and get Lamar Jackson, and I could get him with the head coach that he's worked with for 7 or 8 years. And I could get him with a head coach who, according to all the reports, kept a rock-solid relationship with Lamar Jackson. And didn't Lamar Jackson just release an Instagram video talking about coming out strong or coming, what is it? What's the name of it? Coming strong? Coming out strong. Coming out strong, yeah. Coming out strong with The Weeknd and Future and, how he's going to be perfectly fine. And, people are mistaking my kindness for weakness. Go look this up. You don't have to take my word for it, but Lamar Jackson sending out little bat signals. Like someone has taken his kindness for weakness. Who could that be? Who could? I think he's potentially talking about the Ravens ownership. Maybe he didn't want John Harbaugh fired. Maybe that's the kindness that they've mistaken for weakness. They thought Lamar would ride with that. And look, maybe the Ravens are ready to remake their organization in a post-Lamar Jackson world. But it feels to me like a lot of dominoes are falling here. And Lamar Jackson being a person from South Florida that loves, would love to play in warm weather, get out of the cold of Baltimore. This isn't crazy. And so this late Thursday firing of Mike McDaniel, this is earth-shattering news in the National Football League. This, to me, I don't think you do this unless you feel like, oh, man, I got the best coach on the market lined up and ready to go. And that best coach on the market could potentially bring me the most exciting quarterback on the market, a 2-time MVP, a guy that when healthy, and he's been healthy most of his career, you can mark down, hey, we're getting 11, 12, 13 regular season victories. Now, there are people out there saying, but you're also going to get a playoff loss. Well, that It's been said about a lot of great players before they finally crack the code and start winning in the postseason. If I'm Stephen Ross and I could get a hyper motivated John Harbaugh, a hyper motivated Lamar Jackson with still tread on his tires and something to prove returning to Florida, if I could do all of that, yeah, and even if it's only like even if it only has a 2 or 3 year shelf life, yeah, I fire Mike McDaniel. I go all in on hiring John Harbaugh, and I go all in on trading for and acquiring Lamar Jackson.